Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacqueline. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacqueline at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV, and hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. We are so happy to have you. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and our show today is Talking Heads. Talking Heads is a platform where world-class experts come and present a lesson in 30 minutes. So get your paper and pen ready if you're old school, or get out your notes section on your mobile device and get ready to be educated and entertained. Today, our expert presenter, Talking Head, and she is also a co-host here at USA Global TV with our show coming up very soon in March, and she's an elevated listener. She's the trifecta, you can say. Welcome to Mariska du Preez. Thank you so much for being on our team.
Hello.
Hello. Joining us from New Zealand, as I love to say every time. It's so nice to have you.
It is so nice to be here, and today we are having a really beautiful day outside. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping away and hopefully not interrupting our audio too much. So yes, having a really great start to my day, and I know you guys are towards the end of your day, and some
Absolutely.
of our listeners are in the middle of their day.
Yes, they are. We've had people
from a great platform
all over the world today. It's amazing. So I'm very excited to hear what you're presenting today. I know you've got a deck. Let's share that. And I'll head backstage and be taking notes. So have a great presentation.
Ooh. Okay, so today we are continuing on becoming those awesome communicators within our life and workplace and anywhere else where you communicate, which is, if you're a human being, most everywhere. Now, last week, we looked at body language and facial expressions, and we had a bit of a look at how to see how other people sort of give us little hints and little messages in not only the verbal, but also in the body language and the way that we use our face. Today, we are going to look at movement, and this is more related to our own. So yes, it's still related to body language, but it has a little bit of a twist. So what I want you to start off today and think about is, how do you hold your body when you are confident? So the two options at the moment that we have is, do you normally hold your body hunched over, shoulders forward, head down, right? Is that your confident stance? Or is it chest up, shoulders back, spine straight? And if you chose B, shoulders back, head up, spine straight, you would be correct. So certain emotions and certain ways that we want to feel actually links up with certain ways that we hold our body. And when we know how these interact with one another, it makes it so much easier for us to actually get into that state of being before even feeling that way. Because our motions and our emotions are actually connected. So as you would see on our little slide, there is different people with different postures displayed on the slide. And some of them will be portraying very confident and good types of energy, whereas others will have less confident types of energy. And of course, we can quite easily see by the way that they're holding their bodies how these energies might affect the people around them. And this is the element that I want us to work and think about today while we are going through movement. And this, of course, is something we can control, right? So we control our own bodies, we control our own movement. We are not puppets, we are not being controlled by someone else. We can do all of these things for ourselves. So if we want to feel a certain way, we can get ourselves into that motion. So when we think about these emotions and posture sort of links, there is two basic groups. So we have the emotions or the feelings that we might not enjoy feeling as much. So those might be things like worried or frustrated or fear even. And when we think about those emotions or feelings, we notice that our body actually goes into a certain position, right? So if we think, for instance, about fear, frustration, disappointment, also something that we did last week in our facial expressions, you would remember that we tend to take up less space. Our body actually closes in. So we'll have a tendency to have our head down, our shoulders would start to slump forward, our spine will actually start to curve. So we won't have it nice and straight anymore. We'll start to go forward in a more of a fetal position to try and protect ourselves. So we are not only physically trying to protect ourselves because of the danger, but we also want to protect ourselves emotionally. And when we want to protect ourselves emotionally, we go into exactly the same posture. So when we think about anything that we do as a human being, there's two aspects that's really, really important for us. The first is we want to be physically safe. We don't want to be in danger. We don't want to be fighting a saber-toothed tiger or the caveman next to us. That is way back when. These days, well, preferably your cat is a bit smaller, so you won't be fighting the cat on a regular basis. But we also don't want to be fighting with our neighbors, right? So being physically safe is one of the elements. And the second element is not being psychologically in a space where we feel threatened. So we want to feel psychological safety. And that's to do with our emotions and our inner being. And when we think about our movement and our posture, this actually comes in for the physical safety as well as the emotional inner being's safety. So when we want to protect ourselves, so for instance, we are playing ball with a friend and the friend throws the ball towards our chest, we might turn our shoulder. So that's a way of veering off the ball and protecting our body. If something is dropping from the top, we might duck our heads. So we have a tendency to go in and protect whenever we want to feel physically safe. Now, the same happens when we want to feel emotionally safe. If we are in a spot where we feel that we are threatened for whatever reason emotionally, so things comes up like worry or frustrations or fear, we also do the same thing with our body. So we will also have a tendency to actually protect ourselves. We want to protect our heart. So we will close it with the body physically. And this, of course, the flip side of it is also true. So when we feel that we are very confident, or we want to take action, or we want to explore and be innovative, or we want to be compassionate and empathetic towards somebody, our body also helps us to do these things. So our body and our emotional state, body, mind, and spirit, they all connected to one another. You don't do the one thing without the other ones being affected by it. So taking that into consideration, when we go into a space and we actually want to feel a certain emotion, the easiest way of doing this is putting our body into the position that would help us feel that emotion or have that specific feeling that we want. So when we want to feel confident or take action, we'll have a body that's a lot more upright. We'll have a lot more of a straight spine. You'll stand with a wider stance, so we won't go in, but we'll go a little bit more out with our arms and our limbs, so we can take up more space. So what I would love to do is have you experience this for yourself. So we are going to do a little bit of a visualization exercise, or a bit of an experiment, so to speak. So what I would like you to do is, if it's a safe environment for you to do this, close your eyes. If you are driving, you can listen to the audio when you are in a safe space and then close your eyes. So I just want you to center yourself and take a few breaths in and out, and in again and out again. One last time in and out. And now, in your mind's eye, I want you to see yourself when you are confident. Think of a time when you've been really confident. And if you can't think of a time, make something up. Put yourself in an environment where you can feel that you are confident. And now that you're in that environment, I want you to start observing what your body is doing. What's your spine doing? Where's your shoulders? What's happening to your head? Is it tilted anyway? Is it just straight? What's happening inside your body? How's your emotional state feeling? How's your breathing? Are you breathing very deeply, in and out? Is it fast? Is it slow? What's happening with you as a human being at this very moment, seeing yourself in this confidence stance? Notice your feet. Notice your hand movements, how you move your hands around maybe. How much you move your body around when you're standing or when you're sitting. So different postures, what would you be doing with your body? And what I also want you to notice is this energy of confidence. Where in your body is it showing up? Is it more in your spine? So are you feeling it very strongly in your spine? Or are you maybe feeling it very strongly in your shoulders? Or is it somewhere else in your body? Where is it showing up for you? And if you found that spot where it's showing up, just put your hand lightly on it. So it might be that it's on your shoulders. Or it might be that it's your back. So if you can reach your back, you can just put your hand lightly on your back, this way or that way. And then just be aware of what's going on for you in your body. Okay, and then when you're ready, you can open your eyes again. So having experienced that and noticing how you hold your body when you are confident, this makes such a difference to how you will now experience any conversation that you are having. Because when we in that space where we have moved our bodies into an area where we feel empowered, where we feel confident, or where we feel creative, or maybe it might be that we want to inspire, or we are going to give a presentation and we want to come and be very relaxed in our presentation and very confident in our presentation. So being mindful of the way that we want to come across when we are interacting throughout our day. And that actually brings us to our little table. So our intention table, looking at the different areas in life where we will be interacting with other human beings and thinking about the type of communication, the intention of that communication that we want to have with our team or with this other person that we have in our environment. So the example that I used for today is a brainstorming session. So maybe I would want to have a great brainstorming session with my team. And my intention for this brainstorming session is for it to be a creative collaboration. I want it to be a very creative space for all of us and collaborate with each other. So the emotions or feelings that I would really like to bring to this space is some happiness and joy. And I also want us to feel very resourceful because it's going to be a brainstorming session and I really want the best ideas and the freshest thinking to come forward. So I want us to feel very resourceful as well as very happy. And then I'm thinking, okay, so what sort of posture might help me to be able to bring this into the space? And the posture that I thought of was an explorative and innovative posture. So for me, yes, it's going to have some of the elements of confidence in there, but when I think about exploring and being innovative, I also think about the way that I'm going to think about this whole session, as well as for me, exploration and innovation. My body sort of goes forward a little bit. I want to lean into it because I'm curious about it. I'm interested in it. So I want to go forward with my body. I'm still very open. So my shoulders will still be relaxed. My spine will still be straight. My face will be a lot softer than when I just feel confident. So that to me is also subtle changes between just a confidence and then being curious or innovative. The way that I have my face is a bit different there. And then notes that I made for myself is be curious. So whatever comes up during my brainstorming session, I want to be curious about it. And of course, there can be different situations where we use this. It might be that it is in a sales conversation. It might be a one-on-one conversation. It might be a team interaction. It might even be at home. So depending on where it is that we want to utilize it, thinking through what our intention is, what we want to bring to the space, what emotion or feeling it is that we would like to experience during that period, and then what posture will best benefit us to help us to feel that feeling. As you will recall, we also did the colors a few weeks back. So looking at those elements also helps us to get into a state where we can actually create a space in which to communicate effectively the way that we want to communicate. So starting to take all these wee little threads, so to speak, and putting them together and making wee little knots will create this beautiful communication tapestry as we go along. And being intentional with it makes it a tapestry instead of just a mess with a whole bunch of knots in it, which is something that we don't want. That, of course, brings us to our awareness and intention slide. So for awareness, what posture am I holding my body in during my interaction? So firstly, just becoming aware. What am I actually doing with my body? When I'm interacting with my team, what's happening with my body? When I'm interacting with a loved one, what's happening with my body? When I'm having fun, what's happening with my body? Being a little bit more aware of how am I holding myself? What's happening? What's showing up for me? And just being curious about it. Then the second element to that is being intentional. So now that I know what I do when I'm going to feel happy or when I might want to feel confident, then I can become more intentional with how I show up. So what do I want to bring to this conversation? If that little table helps you, you can fill in the feelings that you want to be feeling, the thing that you want to bring into that space to ensure that you are very intentional with the way that you communicate. And then how can this serve me and the people that I'm actually communicating with? Because remember from our body language lesson, they send us codes, but we also send them codes. So there's continuously a code sending happening and a decoding happening. And when we know what's happening with our own bodies in certain situations and how we want to show up in those situations, it makes it so much easier for us to ensure that the code that we send out when we are communicating is the correct one for them to be decoding and for us to have a wonderful conversation and a great experience when we have our interactions. So being intentional is really, really important when we are communicating with everybody around us. And that brings us today to the end of our lesson. If you would like to contact me, you can get hold of me at mariska@journeytodiscover.com. Or alternatively, you can also find me on LinkedIn, and please connect on LinkedIn. I would love to hear from you and how you are finding your movements changing some of the interactions that you have into those that you actually intend them to be.
Well done, Mariska. I was actually highly aware of what my posture was, and if somebody was looking at me, what I was saying with how I'm holding myself. And I think that I have to say for myself, not always consciously aware of what are the way we are coming across to other people.
we don't always think about it. And I think that is one of the things. I mean, when we do body language courses, for instance, it's a lot of the focus is on how to read body language. And how often do we stand in the mirror? Oh, my words, sorry. How often do we stand in front of a mirror, right, and go through the motions? I mean, as soon as you're in front of the mirror, it's almost like your body goes into this, I don't know about other people, but mine goes into this weird spasm, right, where it's not always quite natural. Some of it might be, some of it might not be, because I see it. Whereas when we in front of other people, we don't see ourselves. So we just show up. And we don't always think about how we show up. And therein lies the problem, I think, to an extent. So being aware of how we show up is half the battle won.
Absolutely. And I think it's important. I obviously, with a television platform, do this, but I will videotape myself doing certain things like playing the piano. And I noticed I have some weird thing I do with my mouth playing the piano. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I wasn't aware of that, imagine what message I'm sending out to people. So I think it is important to look in the mirror and even do, like I said, a video with our phone. Just what is your posture saying? What is your body language saying? What is the message that you're bringing to the world?
Yes. And what I have found, because everything is connected, so as we all know, body, mind, spirit, right? So the mind and the body and the spirit, it's not separate things. Yes, they're separate, but they all function as one. It's almost like having a cake and saying, well, we have flour and we have milk and we have eggs and we have a cake, because they all make the cake. But they're not separate. They function as one thing. They're a cake. And that's the same for us. Yes, we have all these elements in us, but they function as one thing. So when the body is in one posture, the emotions goes to that posture. It wants to function as the same thing. And that means that our mental state and the way that we think goes to the same place. So very interesting, us human beings.
We certainly are very sophisticated in many ways.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you for another brilliant lesson today. For folks, you already gave your contact information, but we have it here in the comments as well. Journey to Discover with the number 2. .com or Mariska at journeytodiscover.com. Thank you so much again, Mariska, for being here and for starting your day with us as we're ending our day here.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And as always, I love being with you guys. And this is such an honor to be able to start my day this way.
We look forward to our new show together starting, I believe, next week.
Yes, it is. Very, very exciting.
Absolutely. And we will keep you on the edge of your seat for the title of the show, but it's going to focus on leadership and transformation.
Yes, it is.
Yes. All right. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me. And I hope that all our listeners enjoy the rest of their day.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And for those of you who are interested in learning more from Mariska or any of our talking heads, you can find all the presentations in 2 locations to make it very easy. They're across all the social media platforms, but it's so easy to find them if you go to our website, which is usaglobaltv.com. And across the top, you'll see Talking Heads. Just go there and you can click to watch our shows. And you can go to our YouTube channel, which is, guess what? USA Global TV. And in the playlist Talking Heads, you will find all of these lessons. If you'd like to be a talking head and be considered for our team, we would love to hear from you. You must have 5 years experience and have a following and be considered an expert in your field. We have availability for a couple of additional people, maybe 2 or 3, and that's about it. So we would love to hear from you. You can again reach out to me, which you can get me on my website, which is usaglobaltv.com, or my personal website, which is drjacqueline.com. So thank you again for being here. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we have another wonderful series of programs, as well as Friday. We do stream live Monday through Friday every week, and we have on average between 20 and 22 shows that are live. And again, you can watch all of them at your convenience on our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV. Thank you again for being here. Thank you so much, Mariska, and our entire team of Talking Heads.